Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The president wanted to go in a different direction. That was how White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus responded to his abrupt departure last night. It was something of an understatement after the chaos and public backbiting at the heart of the West Wing. He was swiftly replaced by a four-star Marine General, John Kelly, the latest hiring and firing from a president who appears to thrive on conflict. But is this the last of it? Jane Dodge reports.
More turbulent weather at the Palace of Trump. Out goes Reince Priebus as the shortest-serving Chief of Staff ever. In comes General John Kelly, his boss hoping he'll use his military might to calm the storm inside the West Wing. The president was on board Air Force One when he tweeted news of the appointment, describing General Kelly as a great American. Mr. Priebus was on the same flight. He made for a solitary figure as he walked away, no longer part of the presidential motorcade.
General Kelly has been a star, done an incredible job thus far, respected by everybody, a great, great American. Reince Priebus, a good man. Thank you very much.
John Kelly served for more than 40 years in the Marine Corps. His son, also a soldier, was killed in Afghanistan in 2010. As head of Homeland Security, he's been tough on illegal immigration and has backed the idea of a wall on the Mexican border. And he certainly knows how to impress his boss. At a graduation ceremony in May, he suggested another use for the ceremonial sword. Another new face in Trump's top team, Anthony Scaramucci, had already predicted Mr. Priebus's demise, blaming him for leaks and describing him as an effing paranoid schizophrenic. Only in his job as Director of Communications for a week, Mr. Scaramucci had warned that his style would be different.
What I don't like about Washington is people do not let you know how they feel. They're very nice to your face, and then they take a shiv or a machete and they stab it in your back. I don't like it. You know, Anthony, I'm a Wall Street guy, and I'm more of a front-stabbing person.
But backstabbing or front wasn't on Mr. Priebus's agenda as he bade his farewells.
The palace intrigue stuff is annoying, and I think it's a distraction. It takes away from the president's agenda. I think what everyone needs to do is just focus on the president, to focus on the things that he wants to get done for the American people.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Mr. Trump seems in no hurry to drop his infamous catchphrase. He started firing people days after becoming president. Dozens of others have either jumped or were pushed since then.
Hitting the reset button.
Reince is a good man.
This hasn't been a good week for Mr. Trump. He's failed to push through healthcare reform. His ban on transgender members of the military has caused an outcry, and the infighting in the White House has reached new depths. All eyes are now on General Kelly to get the president's house in order.
Well, I'm joined now from Washington by Rick Tyler, MSNBC's political analyst and the former director of communications to the Republican Senator Ted Cruz. Rick Tyler, hitting the reset button is the tagline there. Can it succeed?
It seems unlikely to me. I mean, President Trump has a series of habits that just aren't conducive to governing, and he doesn't seem to have the skill sets to work with Congress, which include compromise and persuasion, and he doesn't use the bully pulpit to persuade the American people about his agenda. He continues to divide and not add people to his coalition, and therefore, as we saw in this healthcare debate that we're going through to repeal what is known as Obamacare, his supporters really aren't out there trying to help him repeal and replace Obamacare, and we saw the results of that the other night, a very embarrassing defeat on a major policy change.
But looking at this Trump's way a minute, I mean, he came in promising to drain the swamp. Reince Priebus was the last of the sort of Washington insiders. You could just say, well, he's going ahead and draining that swamp.
Well, in a sense, Reince Priebus was probably doomed from the beginning. I mean, at one point during the campaign and during the primary, Reince Priebus asked Donald Trump to drop out of the race, so he really wasn't there. But he didn't really fit culturally into Donald Trump's world. Donald Trump thrives on chaos. Bringing General Kelly in Trump's mind, I don't believe is designed to calm or reassure anybody. I think that he believes that General Kelly will fight for him when he didn't think that Reince Priebus did. And so you're always going to have fiefdoms in the White House that need to be kept under control. But the reason I don't think it'll survive is, A, Donald Trump seems to be incapable of learning or changing and to be effective as president. And two, the new incoming chief of staff, John Kelly, doesn't yet seem to have control over all the staff, meaning Scaramucci, who's been hired as the comms director, for some inexplicable reason, reports directly to Donald Trump. And it remains to be seen whether he'll report to Kelly. If Kelly agreed to take that position without all the staff reporting to him first, it's bound to fail.
Well, but Trump blames reportedly bad advice for some of his problems. So, I mean, I hesitate to suggest this, but could we now see, you know, Trump unleashed?
Yeah, politicians often blame staff, but look, leadership and culture comes from the top, and Donald Trump has set the standard for the culture. Look at Anthony Scaramucci, and we just heard in the report, who degrades both the senior advisor to the president and the chief of staff. In no other White House would that be tolerated. In fact, it wouldn't be tolerated at a local coffee shop. If you degrade the boss, you get fired, and that's not happened. So Donald Trump's encouraging that culture.
What about the general, though? I mean, you know, you saw him in that piece just there, you know, threatening to use that sort of sword thing on the press. Joke, of course. But, I mean, can he bring some order to this chaos? He's a pretty tough guy, isn't he?
He is a tough guy, and he's a very impressive. He has a very impressive record, and he was in charge of Southcom, and he's got a distinguished record, and he's actually been around Washington. But again, I would say, if just as an example, if Anthony Scaramucci is not under his direct control, then the White House will continue to spiral out of control, and so he can bring function to a dysfunctional White House. But he has to first get a president who's out of control under control. And I don't think the latter is possible.
Rick Tyler, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.